with this. I think it's a very important task or conversation we're going to have. One for the country, South Africa, the continental mining market as well. So I'm really excited and looking forward to engage with you. So as I said, my name is Matsinela Thabo Moloto. Um, um, my background is that of mining engineering, having worked in the mines. Um, I'm one lucky miner, and to give context to that is that normally when you graduate, from a mining engineering school or school of mining, um, it's either you go into coal or you go into metalliferous mines, and sometimes you end up retiring in that particular sector or subsector. But I was very fortunate, and I think it was just by mere sheer luck that I found myself doing a bit and pieces of everything.
Sure.
Wherein I started my career in the diamond mine, open pit and underground. I then went into the coal mines. I then left the coal mines. I went into contracting, which then exposed me to gold mining. In the Witwatersrand gold fields. From there, I went into the platinum sector, and eventually I landed into shaft sinking, where I was merely responsible to start new mines. Post exploration, you would know that there's development. So I then occupied in that node of the value chain. And fast forward, of course, I then almost reached my peak in as far as the shaft sinking career was concerned, because I started off as a junior mining engineer, site manager, contracts manager, project manager, operations director, managing director of a multinational conglomerate called Shaft Sinkers. It's a company that I think historically we sank shafts in the rest of the globe. Switzerland, India, you name it. There isn't anywhere where there was shaft sinking projects, and we're not there. So I was responsible for the Southern African business as a managing director until 2019. Then I left my day-to-day running of the company, because I felt that I needed to, expand myself a bit into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Then I went into construction and open cast mining contracting. Did that until early last year, 2023. But in between, I think since 2015, I then started investing in different companies, particularly in the entire value chain of mining, being exploration companies, design companies, the actual mining companies, and the last one being in 2022, wherein my partner and I acquired, shareholding in an old diamond mine in the Boshoff area of the Free State, where we managed to convert or renew our mining license for the next 30 years. But in a nutshell, in conclusion, I basically run a company called Rootz Investments that houses all this interest that I've mentioned, including UMS Shaft Sinkers. I still hold shares, and I'm the board chairperson of the South African business, and I'm heavily invested in exploration, wherein we do mineral asset development, and where is that? We have coal prospecting licenses. We have the base metal prospecting licenses for nickel, chrome, copper, lead, zinc in the Northern Cape.
Okay.
And I know I mentioned chrome in the Northern Cape, and people will get to know this story very soon.
Yeah, that's not, we know chrome. I mean, that's the manganese.
Yes, it's the manganese and all the base metals that you can think of. Your iron ore, your copper. So we invested in that area, in the Kennard area, in Northern Cape, very far from everything, and that's where we are currently doing our exploration activities. I'll end it there.
All right, perfect. It sounds like such a comprehensive background there, and you have an array, like a variety of experience in multiple, like so diverse in the minerals that you've been involved with. So you could say you are an expert in mining.
I don't want to claim that, but what I can say is that I'm a diverse, mining professional.
Yeah. And I think in any profession, Thabo, I think it's quite important to know the various aspects of that industry. I don't believe in being sort of single-minded. I believe you become better if you are multifaceted. You understand various types of aspects of the entire industry, here and there and there and there, for you to have an idea. I think it really informs you well in terms of decision making and all of that. So I think it's a good thing that you've dabbled here and there.
I think so too. And hence I said, humbly so, it's by sheer luck, because it happens one in a million times,
But you know what they say about luck is that it meets people who are ready.
Yeah. No, of course.
So it's luck and preparation.
Absolutely.
And that's how you got it. But thanks for that background. Now that we talk exploration, but I didn't hear you mention coal, nickel, chrome, copper, lead.
Yeah, and zinc. Yeah.
Okay, and they're all in the Northern Cape.
No. Coal is in Mpumalanga. In the Witbank area, and the rest are in the Northern Cape. And of course, we are currently doing more desktop studies to add more critical minerals, particularly future minerals like your lithium and copper, cobalt. And what I didn't mention also is that in my consultancy space, I also assist other companies who are in exploration. Like recently, we've undertaken a project for exploration of tin in the Limpopo province, in Marble Hall, and that's another critical future mineral. If you look at where it ranks, it actually ranks as number one in terms of its criticality, tin, because of its use generally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thabo, iron ore, manganese, and chrome. Of course, coal is our staple here in South Africa. That we won't even deny.
Correct.
But particularly when we talk about iron ore and manganese and chrome, I mean, South Africa is rich in those, and those minerals are ones that we're never going to stop needing them, regardless of where we're going, regardless of the energy transition. These are the minerals that we need in this world, right? And we're going to need for many aeons to come, right?
Yes.
So does South Africa, in what you've observed within your consultancy and within your investments, and just generally, do we still have iron ore, manganese, and chrome green fields in the country?
Yes, we still have. We still have. Let me start with chrome. Arguably over 75% chrome resources of the entire world, the known resources, are hosted here in South Africa in the Bushveld Ignatius complex. So if you look at what we have extracted and what we continue to extract, we are still endowed. We are still endowed with chrome, and hence the reliance of many other countries, particularly China, on the South African chrome resources. I mean, arguably China consumes almost 80% of the chrome that comes from South Africa, and that is going to be that arguably for the near future, even long term. So we are really richly endowed with this mineral in South Africa, and of course you have Zimbabwe next door that has not really fully exploited their resources, but you also have other countries like your Kazakhstan and all of that are gradually becoming competitors in this space. But to sum it up, we still a force to reckon when it comes to the chrome deposit, for the entire world. Then we come to the manganese resources. The same story continues, wherein we host over 80% of the known manganese resources in the entire world. And again, if you look at what we have extracted and what we continue to extract, we are still endowed, properly so. So we are still going to be the manganese capital for the long term from now onwards. And lastly, when it comes to iron ore, I'm not so confident about my facts here, but what I can tell you is that we are a very critical player. But what I know is that we are not number one in the world. I do know that Australia is a leader in terms of iron ore production in the entire world, and I think we are second or third in terms of manganese resources. But the crux here, Fengiwe, is that resources and reserves are different. So all this, what I've mentioned, it's based on the known resources. But how we then transplant that to reserves, that's where the critical question comes in as far as exploration is concerned. So we still have these resources. There's still opportunity for greenfield. There's a lot of brownfields as well, where further exploration has to be undertaken. So we still standing tall as a country.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Got it. It's very good to hear you in confidence, mentioning that we are still endowed with these minerals and that there's still a lot of opportunity for the industry to, continue growing. But now when we talk about exploration, and I mean, this is the reason why I ask about green fields and not brown fields, but we'll get to brown fields. I just want to understand, I know that in any undertaking, there are challenges,
Yes.
There are challenges. What are the key challenges, in getting these projects off the ground? As you mentioned, that resources and reserves are a different thing, right?
Yeah.
You have resources, but now to have the reserves themselves, it takes a lot, and that includes capital, right?
Absolutely.
So what, just expand a little bit on the key challenges in getting these projects off the ground.
Correct. And that is in the South African context, right?
Yeah, that's right.
First of all, let's get down to the facts and figures before we speak to the challenges. because one has to understand the status first and then speak to the challenges afterwards. In as far as the global exploration expenditure, or the annual exploration budgets in the entire globe, South Africa is the weakest link. To put it in context, the Standard and Poor Capital IQ reports that South Africa contributes less than 1% of the global exploration spend. Sad story, right? Given what I've just said about the resources.
Relative to that.
Yeah. We contribute less than 1%. To be precise, it is recorded that we are 0.44% of the global exploration spend. Now, the question that you posed is, what are the challenges? There's plethora of them, but I would limit it to few key ones.
Okay.
First of all, capital follows stable jurisdictions or favorable investment environments. In any commodity, it doesn't matter, or in any business, it doesn't have to be mining. Capital follows stable investment jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And the fact that we are not cited as one of those favorable investment environments is a concern.
Yeah.
It's a concern, one, in terms of us attracting capital. Two, it's a concern in that those who are favorites will attract capital more than us. And who are those that are favored for that? It's the likes of Canada and Australia. Now, what this means is that we have to compete with Canada and Australia in terms of capital, and we are really coming second when it comes to that. Okay. Number two is that we are not talking about this enough, in that we've unintentionally and indirectly exported skill to these two countries that I'm talking about. And as a result, that is hurting the country.
Oh, sure.
Number three, why are we not exploring enough? Anywhere in the world, exploration is a state-sponsored intervention.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world. And for the longest of time, we've not been intentional about exploration in this country. Thanks to the current minister, Gwere Mantashe, and his administration. In that, one of the key things that they did when they got into office was to say, how do we move from this demise? How do we move from this less than 1% of the global exploration spend?
Yeah,
and the target is about 5% now.
I see they rolled out this first batch of funding.
Yes, I'll speak to that because that's on the intervention side. But on the challenges side is that the state has to be intentional. The state has to sponsor exploration initiatives, right? Number 4 is the licensing regime, in that one, good or bad, when the MPRDA came into fruition, transformation was one of the key pillars of the Act. And what we've done, all in the name of transformation, we've created a problem for this country. The intentions were good, that we need to open up the market for the black majority. But unintentionally, we've created a conundrum. And what is that conundrum? The conundrum is that we've made it so easy for anyone to access ownership of these minerals.
How's the licensing, or what is the process of licensing, really? Because I've heard of a couple of backlog of license issuances at the DMRE. What is the situation there?
The situation is dire, but there's efforts. You can literally see that there's efforts to deal with the challenge. I don't want to sound very biased to my home province of Limpopo.
Yeah.
I find them to be very effective in terms of the time it takes to respond to applications and the follow-ups. Then the challenges are many, and those challenges speaks to exactly what I've just said now, that we've created a conundrum that we've allowed everyone to basically participate in this important sector of the economy. In that it takes only 2,500 rands to lodge an application, and the rules are so relaxed that it's easy for you to then be approved or be granted this prospecting licenses. Now, because we don't stress test the capabilities enough, we end up having this prospecting licenses in wrong hands. And what do I mean by wrong hands? And pardon me for that. It's not wrong hands because they're black, but it's wrong hands because it's not capable individuals who will take this industry forward.
So are you saying that, first the criteria must be stern?
The criteria must be stress tested.
All right.
The criteria must be amended somehow. But of course, we must be wary of being too restrictive and at the same time impeding transformation. But there's a lot that we need to do, and we need to test these things, especially capabilities, to the latter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tell me here, what is the average? How long does it take for one to receive a prospecting license?
Well, there are legal frame times in terms of when the DMRE is supposed to be responding and all of that. But those legal frame times, I can tell you now for free that it's never a reality.
Sure.
It's never a reality. Prospecting license should not take you over 6 months to be granted. But if you look at all the requirements, particularly on the environmental side, it can take you longer. It can take you a good 90 days, to just complete that first phase,
That's 3 months.
A good 3 months, and it's just not helpful. As to why, given that we have been doing this thing for many years, we have templates, we have this and that, why do we still allow this process to drag that long? And you have a situation where if there's any country that has better resources than you, especially in terms of grade or quality, and the laws are much better, the tenure is much better, investors will go there.
Yeah, of course. Sure. So basically it can go beyond 6 months.
Sometimes it goes over a year. Sometimes it goes over a year, and we can talk about a backlog thing, and I hear people politicizing this backlog and the cadastral system and all of that. Yes, we need the cadastral system. We need that element of transparency.
But we still need the most efficient, capable people.
No, yes, we need a capable state to administer this, right? But you are not short. There is no poverty of competent people in government. Believe you me. You are not short of those people.
Wrong, Thabo? I mean, no. I send in my application. Where does it get stuck? This thing.
It goes back to you don't issue licenses to 100,000 of people.
Okay.
Right. And you want to administer that with 100 people. You understand? It's not the general incompetency.
It's clubbed.
Yes, it's not the general incompetency of government officials. We must control the flow. You can only do this much. Given the resources, you ought to control the flow. You ought to control the input. Yes, we've created a stampede. In that there's so much on the input side that clogs the system that the output becomes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. I can hear how frustrating it is. Sorry, I can hear how frustrating it is, because I mean
it's a simple thing. Input, whatever the process is, output. And if you do one over the other, you get efficiency. That's basic science.
That's right.
But if the two are not balancing, then you create inefficiency.
That's right. The flow of the input really matters onto how we're going to see the output.
Absolutely.
I'm really starting to get a sense of what the issues really that are on the ground that can get a little bit frustrating, that are strenuous to the industry, I see that it's not just, you mentioned capital, but also this issue of prospecting licenses.
Correct.
It is a very big issue.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about local communities. I'm not, quite privy of what happens when geologists say, okay, we want to go, we think there's something there, we want to go and explore something. Are there any challenges that can stem from the surrounding communities when geologists come and say, okay, we've identified something, we're going to start a project here? What sort of challenges emanate from the surrounding areas, surrounding local communities?
Yeah. Thank you. I think I'm glad you're asking this question because we have to educate the market as South Africans who are in the space. We have to educate the market because there are so many things that are said in public platforms that are wrong about this country. And I don't want to go into the politics of us being less patriotic or whatever. But what you just asked me is what people should be asking all over the world. What is the process?
Yeah.
So the issue of communities is not really a major stumbling block in the application process. So what happens is that if a geologist or anyone who says, I think there's something there, I need to apply, all what they need to do is to go into the portal, log in all the information, including the coordinates of that area, make an application. No community involvement at that stage, right?
It's the formalities, the
yes. Now, what the DMRE does, there's two steps, and sometimes the first step they normally skip. The DMRE will write back to you to acknowledge